Hello, my name is George Butler III, and I come to talk about the ways in which video games can actually educate, good and bad. Well, there's good parts of every video game, there's bad parts to every video game. Naturally, it's just, you give the good and the bad. Take Grand Theft Auto, for instance. Grand Theft Auto has a lot of violence, has a lot of, well, criminal acts, it has a lot of language. I mean, there's video games, there's a, there's a, there's an education, there's two sides of the video games. There's the educational side, which naturally every single video game, it teaches something, and then how you apply it is, very important. And then there's the coercion that, you know, the video games that feed upon the impressionable young um, children that um, that teach that really trying to get kids to do the well, inadvertently getting kids to do the wrong things, and these video game developers aren't really seeing what who in whose hands their video games are actually going, because their parents, sometimes neglect the ratings of the video games, and they tend to let their kids play the wrong things. I mean, see, the public perception of video games is that you know in some ways they educate, but for the most part they rot your brain. But the fact of the matter is that there have been steps taken since 1992 at least to regulate video games by, and these steps were taken mainly by the video game manufacturers, which eventually, say around 1994, they came up with the Entertainment Software Ratings Board. They have like 6 ratings. There's EC, that's early childhood. There's E, everyone. E10, everyone 10 and up. T, teen. M for mature, and AO for adults only. And some of the most popular video games, they range from teen to mature, which teen is like under 13 and mature is like, no, teen is like over 13 and mature is like over 17. And some video game developers, not developers, but video game sellers such as GameStop have taken measures to ban video games from the minors, the M-rated ones. They banned M-rated games from the minors because some people tend to blame situations for on video games. And some of the latest, such as Grand Theft Auto and StarCraft, they tend to be violent, and it's understandable how children can learn the wrong things from them. And there's a lot of crazy things goes on when it comes to video games. I mean, but on the other side of the spectrum, there are educational games. We have driving simulators. We have those brain training games such as Brain Age, something that came out a while ago from Nintendo, such as Sudoku. There's a lot of gaming. There's a lot of websites that have brain training exercises such as Lumosity.com, and some of those types of games can be found on Congregate.com. And these type of games Then we also have the criminal law video games, like whether you believe it or not, sometimes it's been parodied. Capcom's Ace Attorney games, things like that. And there's CSI games, criminal investigation, like Sherlock Holmes, like these games that come out back in the day. They were on CD-ROMs and things like that. And there's a lot of educational video games, like their language video games. I teach French, Spanish. I mean, a lot of games that you may, that your child will learn from. So, I think, there's video games that are very harsh, and there's video games that are meant specifically to educate. And the harsh video games, they educate about the wrong things. It's not so much education as it is coercion. I myself am an adult, and I have played violent games, and all throughout the years, ever since Mortal Kombat, and I've never really been affected by them. But I can't say that for like a 10-year-old or something like that. There was this 8-year-old boy, I think about a year back in Louisiana, who killed his 90-year-old caretaker. It was in Louisiana, and it was over a game. It was after he got through playing Grand Theft Auto 4, which it got like at least like a year before 5. Yeah, but they didn't charge him with a crime because of Louisiana law. But and there's cases throughout history. I mean, in 1992, when this whole thing began, the lawmakers that were expressing concerns about how video games were being how video games were being marketed, in whose hands that they were going to. This whole discussion began with Senator Joseph Lieberman, who was once running with Al Gore to be the vice president. Before that, he expressed concerns about video games and how they were affecting the youth. And one such video game, I believe his name was Night Trap from Sega. And I think this is why Sega came up with its own video game rating system before the ESRB came about. And I think that's something that may have inspired the ESRB rating system. So, there's games like Night Trap and Mad Dog McCree that came out long before the internet even existed. And Night Trap included these games that were more or less suggestive, not sexually suggestive, because of the outfits and most of the ladies were in pajamas, and they were getting hunted by these stalkers who turned out to be vampires. It was a crazy scene. Then we have Mortal Kombat about the same year. Wow, it's got many sequels, and it's got many, and I love Mortal Kombat just as much as I love Street Fighter. And, well, Street Fighter is not that bad, but Street Fighter is one of those, well, it's a fighting game. And I guess the only difference between Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat is Mortal Kombat doesn't have violence in it. Well, Mortal Kombat does have violence in it. Street Fighter, they don't. Mortal Kombat is the one with the heads being pulled off and whatnot. I love them both, because Street Fighter, just fighting really doesn't teach anything. But I played these games for years, and I never really, gotten. I guess it depends on where you come from and who you are, because the military has also used, video games for training the military, and also training PTSD. So I forgot what it was. And then these German researchers that used Super Mario 64, and with this group of 23 students about a year back. Actually, I say about 7 months. No, yeah, I say about 6 or 7 months back. They used Super Mario 64, and with these 23 people, it improved their hand-eye coordination, and their it was a crazy study. There's another group that didn't play any video games at all, and they just pretty much stayed the same, which was in the same study. But I think it's up to the entire village of people to teach about video games, not just the parents, but the video game sellers, the video game makers, everybody. Just be some type of way to get the message to the kids to try to get the right video games in the right hands. And I think video games can teach good and bad. That's what I'm trying to say. And I think that everyone has a responsibility to put the video games in the right hands. And that's about all I have to say. Thank you for listening, and good night.